I've made myself a little template that I can draw on each corner, so everything's the same. This angle is variable, whatever you think is about right. I wouldn't be too exact. Then from the top here, you can either use a square like this to come from one side to the other, go across, or indeed you could just get a ruler and a score, some sort of sharp point. I think it's a good idea to score this line with a nice edge to work to here. So we end up with a line going across. And then I'd also put a chisel temporarily, just score that line there so that we've got a nice stab cut all the way along. And then our job now, get this nicely patterned down. Our job now is to remove this piece of wood and all the way along. Now we can go downhill, but our danger is going to be chopping away down there and cutting into this board. So we've got to watch this edge here quite carefully. So it's a sort of same thing we've done every time, removing wood, basic carving thing. Remove the wood first, in which case this line is our background, if you like, and we're removing wood down to it. And this would be the wall of something that we didn't want to hit into. So we start off with a series of cuts like this. And then we'll make a second cut, a bit deeper like this on top of that. Now I want to show you exactly how I'm holding the tool here. Holding it in this sort of grip with my thumb, but my hand is resting on the wood, and what that means is that as I hit this, you see it can only go forward a little bit, only go forward a little bit, and then there's a spring back. So I have a lot of control. See how far out it'll come. So don't just have your hand off the wood, have your hand, forearm even on the wood, and head this down to perhaps, what we're going to do is we're going to leave a tiny little ledge here of about 2 millimeters, a 1/16 of an inch along here. So we have a little shadow going on there. So come down to just above there like that. So one cut this sort of way, followed by a second cut at a bit more of a steeper angle like that. Then a third cut, trying to go between the ridges all the time. This one's pretty near that line there and just stopping short. Now what we're looking for, as always, is at the bottom of this ridge here is just above the surface we want to end up with. So you just work your way methodically along the edge. So at the end of this stage, I've ploughed fairly flatly. In other words, I've got a plane going across here fairly evenly down to roughly where I want to be on this plane. I've got a little lip here going on. It's worth spending some time on this, just because this next stage goes a lot easier. And I'm going to take a flat gouge and I'm going to come right up to this line here that we've scored in, and I'm going to come down and dress that whole surface. Still use the mallet. It's just a skimming off those ridges, and then we get here again, light taps so that I don't go beyond, and then I'm going to work my way all the way along. Get a clean face as best I can along there. If I've been good with the grooves and not put them too deep, then this should be pretty much a finished surface. There we. So when you've got it cleaned up, what you can do is you can take a narrow gouge and just consolidate any of those cuts together, clean that up like this. So make sure that's all nice. Use your thumb as a pivot. Again, make sure you don't go into that cover there. What we've got here now is a lightly faceted surface, and you could leave it like that. That's quite nice. But to make it in keeping with the rest of the book, I'm going to get it nice and smooth. So either I can start off with my rasp, I can run that across, and that will give me a nice sharp line here. Or we can use a Carve's scraper and just again start scraping off some of those. I would tilt it this way a little bit so that it's slightly going downhill. You could scrape. Or we get our block of wood, nice sharp edges and some sandpaper, and we can start sanding it off like this. Either way, I'm going to end up with a nice flat surface all the way along, and then I'm going to sand down on this face here, and then this book then becomes this, this cover becomes this cover here. So we've now have gone from the side and the tops and bottoms of the spines, we come down the ends all the way around. So this is the last thing we need to do to finish off our book. Here we are, the book is finished. Nice shadow inside here, so that gives a nice sense of the spine. I would slightly round over these edges, it's just slightly, because it's a softer cardboard, And of course you can stain or paint or make those a little bit different. I wouldn't paint, I think just a light stain of some colour might be enough. But there it is. Change the lighting, check it over. And now your book is free for whatever you want to put on the surface. Yeah, I really like that.